November. Good to see everybody here. And if you help me open the meeting here with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Myron has offered to offer our invocation for us.
Father God, I'd like to thank everyone that's here tonight. Thank everyone that came out for this meeting. I want to say a special prayer for the changing of the guard, those going out, those that's coming in. Pray they keep Angel first and want what's best for the time.
Amen. Thank you, Myron. And we do have a quorum here. I believe we can recognize that if we need to as well. So missing a couple members, but have enough to move forward. And has anyone had a chance to look at the planning board minutes from the September meeting? Any discussion of those?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minute
All right.
from last meeting.
All in favor? Raise your hand. All right. Looks like that's unanimous. Those are approved. And I will turn it over to our planning director here, Jeff.
Thank you, Robert. Members of the board, tonight we've got a couple of rezonings for you to consider, two conditional rezonings to be specific, and you may have seen them in the past, so we will go through why they're coming back. First rezoning is going to be 5963 NC 210. Back in the summer, you all recommended unanimous approval for a straight rezoning of this property from Harnett County R30 to R10. This property then, that was in June. This property and request went to the town board in July for a public hearing and the board's consideration for annexation and a rezoning. The board did annex the property, but kept the zoning at R30 at that time. There was quite a bit of community folks who came out who live in this area, and there was some questions about the development, and the board thought specifically traffic, how the development would look and fit within the neighborhoods around it. The board asked that the applicant go back to the drawing board and come back with a conditional zoning application that would add an additional driveway onto NC 210. You'll see that in the conditions. We'll kind of go through the slideshow here, but here's the property. It's currently vacant. There's some wooded area there. It's about 28 acres, a little over 28 acres, and access would be off of NC 210 and North Harnett School Road. Surrounding land uses are agricultural, the school, and some residential. Zoning compatibility, this is R30 in our zoning district now. Proposed is R10 conditional zoning. Minimum lot size would be the 10,000 square foot as it was previously when you saw this. And the permitted uses generally are single family and residential in nature in the R10 zoning. Land use compatibility, this really isn't within our future land use plan. It's within Harnett County's future land use plan. But it does call for residential in this area. The requested zoning, again, is R10 conditional zoning, and those single family and residential uses are permitted in this area. The proposed conditions from the applicant there are three. I mentioned those earlier, at least one of them earlier. Subdivision will incorporate two access points, one being on NC 210 and North Harnett School Road. That was a point of discussion with the town board at their July meeting when they had the public hearing, was trying to limit the access, the traffic to not be solely on North Harnett Primary School Road, and to have an entry onto NC 210. So the applicant can talk a little bit more about their thoughts on that, but that's the condition that they're proposing. The subdivision will contain no less than 11 acres of open space, which is more than the 40% of property, or twice the requirement, which is 20% 20% for Anger. And then the single-family lots will not be mass graded. These are conditions that help the board and the community discuss at the July meeting about how is this project going to fit within the current neighborhoods around there that aren't mass graded, and is it going to be totally clear cut? And so that was a condition that the applicant heard from the board, and they've put on paper and requesting that these three conditions be placed on the property if the rezoning goes through. So the applicant is here, and you all can ask them any questions about their conditions that they're proposing. And I can turn it over to you all for questions right now, if you have any.
Is there a pond on the property?
Let's go back to the aerials here. I don't think there is. There's a draw that goes through in a low area, but Kurt or Austin or Don, I don't think there's a pond on the property.
Is it okay to ask questions about the plans more in depth, or is that not the kind of?
I think you can ask questions about the conditions that they've proposed and how they foresee a future development happening as it relates to those conditions. So, yeah.
Well, I know traffic was a big issue at the town board meeting, as I recall, and we had discussed it here too as well. So it sounds like they're going to address that. So that's something we'd like to hear about, I think.
Yeah, and at the town board, it was a general use rezoning, and the board did sort of go into what a future development might look like, and not necessarily what the request was, but they wanted to make sure that the applicant heard that they would like to not have just one access point on North Harnett School Road. The zoning as it wasn't really discussing that, and that was probably what we talked about too in June is, it's a rezoning, it's not necessarily a development plan or a subdivision. The town board was a little unsure without a condition that a future project would not solely use North Harnett School Road. And so they wanted to sort of give that back to the applicant to make sure that they came back with something that ensured two access points. So yes, and the applicant can speak to that.
I do have a question. The entry point for the development on North Harnett School Road, is it okay to ask where that is going to be on the road?
Yeah, I think there's been discussions with NCDOT about where that road would need to be at a minimum from NC 210, how far back at a minimum it would need to be. And generally, I'm sure that the applicant has some ideas of where that might be, so you can ask them those questions.
Because the school traffic, twice a day lines up all the way out to 210, sometimes, being a problem with traffic flowing from Lillington to Andrew.
Try to take that question on. Okay.
So it's with all the other entry points on North Harnett School Road have always been on the other side of the road. That's never been a problem because people line up on the right side of the road. So where your potential entry point would be impeding, the flow of traffic to the school. Not that it's a end all be all like detriment, but definitely something to look at.
Well, my name is Don Curry. I'm with Curry Engineering in 205 South Fuquay Avenue in Fuquay Varina. And we do appreciate your consideration for this rezoning. As Mr. Jones stated, we were here earlier this year, so we've seen you before, so thanks for letting us be back here for a conditional rezoning. To answer your question, yes, we're looking at a connection on North Harnett School Road that is, I'm going to say south, fairly far south, close to 210, in order to minimize disruption in any of the school stacking during pickup and drop-off times. So we've got it far enough in to where it's not going to be a problem for decision-making coming in off 210, but there's also there'll be a lot of stacking for cars going to the elementary school. And the addition of the second entrance that Mr. Jones mentioned, I think will help mitigate that quite a bit. So that was a concern at the town board meeting and from the neighbors, and so that's why we added that as a committed element. I've also talked to NCDOT about that, and so we'll be tentatively, it'll be across from Pinecroft Road is where we've talked to DOT about putting that connection, and so we'll have the required turn lanes and tapers and things like that for that turn lane. So that's part of the plan.
Was there ever a consideration for two entrances off of 210? I'm sure y'all considered that, but maybe found that it wasn't the best option.
Not really, and that's we didn't consider that, and that's mainly because of DOT. I was concerned that DOT may give us pushback even on one entrance on 210, but they're willing to work with us on that, and they're going to allow us to do that. But yeah, two entrances there would be a little much, just given the length of frontage there on 210. So yeah, that and combined with the North Harnett School Road entrance will, I think, serve it well. It also provides a second point of entry. Heaven forbid there's an accident at North Harnett School in 210, folks can also get to the school through the subdivision entrance off 210, so it's got an added benefit there as well.
And the other details we've been given, sound good as far as the numbers go.
Yeah, we appreciate that. I mean, that was always the plan all along, and so we're kind of formalizing the intent with these conditions, and so we hope that that you all and both town board and the neighbors for that matter will see that that we listen to their concerns, and we're back adding those conditions. Still, we believe in the subdivision. Think it's going to be a great asset for the area. But yeah, we're happy to add those conditions to it.
Is there any idea, how far away or how far close it would be to the school? The subdivision? Are you talking about the entrance?
Well, the entrance itself, you mean, or just the subdivision is a lot of if we're looking at North Harnett School Road, for one thing, there are no connections or no houses that will connect to North Harnett School Road. Everything will be internal to the property, with just those two connections, one on North Harnett School Road and one on 210. Most of the property that's fronting North Harnett School Road is going to be open space. So the subdivision of the lots will be more internal to the development. If that's what you were asking.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
It kind of feels like to me it's something similar to like Neal's Creek Farms, like a kind of thing like that. So if y'all are familiar with that neighborhood,
I don't think I am, but
Or
nice size
yeah,
lots and things like that.
or I don't know if you're familiar with Harnett Central Middle School, the townhouses they're putting there, and
yes, yeah, the Powell.
I think it's like a
subdivision.
chain link fence separating the school to the back, like the backyard.
Yeah, that's right.
And the houses aren't right at
They won't butt up to the school property in that area quite like that, but yeah.
And that condition of not mass grading the single family, there'll still be trees, whereas the one that you're referencing now is not, there's really no trees.
Yeah, no trees. It's like a fence separated. Yeah.
And we worked on that townhome development as well, so I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, I think it was important to address that traffic because my children went to that elementary primary school, elementary school, and it was the traffic there is impassable at certain times in the morning, and the town board was probably correct to recognize that. I mean, it's very difficult to even turn left in there or right for maybe 30 or 45 minutes in the morning and in the afternoon. So I think it was correct to add something because, I think having a neighborhood by a school is a nice thing. It really is. But I think addressing that went a long way toward probably satisfying, hopefully, some of the other neighbors and property owners in that area because it is, they really do line up into 210 for a long time in the morning and the afternoon where you, and that's a 2-lane road, that goes in there. So I think that's a good move. So
Yeah, thank you. We think so too. I think it's a reasonable thing to do. So we're glad to do it.
you have more? Or are we ready?
No, I think you all are ready for there's a recommendation. Staff is recommending approval based off of the conditions that we have, and then you all can go through this, or you can just say that you make a recommendation to approve.
Can we do the whole thing?
Yeah, and that includes it is a conditional zoning request entirely. We're not just adding conditions here,
That's
correct?
right. That's right.
All right. Well, all in favor of approving any other discussion before I do that? Any other discussion?
I'm good.
All right. All in favor of approving this conditional zoning request? Raise your hand. All right. Looks like that's unanimous. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Good.
We're good.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right. The next rezoning is what you all may remember as Easley's Pond, but I think that the developer has changed the name. But the property is along NC 55, south of town. So it's this triangle piece, we'll call that, sort of right south of town. This property was rezoned, I think, back in 21 to conditional zoning R6. And there was a host of conditions, I think 13 at the time. There's 13 that's proposed. What the applicant is wishing to do is modify two of the conditions, sort of swapping when the entries off of NC 55 and Old Buies Creek or Ennis Road, whenever those get built. So again, here's the aerial right now. Right now, if you went out there, it's under construction. Phase 1 is solely under construction. Phase 2 may be getting started, but we've approved that for construction. So that's going through. This is conditional zoning R6 right now. It's used an old map there, but medium density residential is what the land use classification is. But again, it's already zoned R6 conditional zoning. The proposed conditions, the ones in green are the ones that are staying. I will say that the last one, there shall be a 15-foot type A landscape buffer installed along the rear of lots 40 through 43. That is a current condition. I missed that one, so that one is not changing. So the applicant is keeping that, and there's no change to that. Really, the 7 and 8 are the ones that are changing here. So really, just this one and this one, and swapping when the connections to 55 and Ennis Road will be built, and the applicant can speak a little bit more onto why that is. And I can turn it over to you all for any questions that you might have, and the applicants are here if you have any questions of them or want to hear from them as to why they have this request. And y'all want to do, or Tristan, you want to come up and just sort of give an overview of why you want to change up the conditions a little bit?
Thank you for considering this. My name is Tristan Knuth. I work for the developer. Our reasoning for bringing this before you tonight is there's two phases to this project. The entry to phase 2 is off of NC 55, and the entry to phase 1 is off of Ennis Road. We're developing it sequential, so phase 1, and then we'll develop phase 2. The reason we want to switch this is because we feel that in order to record our plat for phase 1, it doesn't make sense to have the improvements on 55 before the improvements on Ennis. And so what we're asking is that we switch those conditions. And so
It's in their packet. So it's in the staff report. So if you look at your staff report, that'll show you
Conditions there in
the
yellow.
subdivision.
Yeah, so if you look at this, phase 1 is the top left loop, which is 74 lots. And the entrance to that is off of Ennis Road, which is a right turn lane addition. And the entry to phase 2 is off 55 at the bottom of that. You got a laser pointer.
There you go. This
Yeah.
is sort of phase 1.
Correct.
Right here.
South of the pond.
Yeah. And then phase 2 is here.
Correct.
And then your entry is
I gave mine to.
For phase
Oh.
1 off Ennis Road.
I think I've read it.
No,
100
no,
times. Over there. Yep.
And so in terms of sequencing, we felt that the zoning conditions could be swapped.
So the current condition for them to plat, and I think it may say something to the effect of, let's see if I had the original condition in here. I may not have had that one, but it's mandating that this turn lane and road improvements on 55 be put in now, but the development is developing here. So the first lots will be here,
Okay.
and so they would like to put in this entry point off of Venice now, and wait for this part of the development to start, construction and development to happen, and then put in this entry second.
But there's no
There's no connection.
there's no connection to
To
55 in
for-
this first phase, correct? Okay. Well, that makes sense.
So Ennis Road is the little road there on the left running north. I was thinking it was the road coming over from 55.
Yeah, so Ennis Road is right here.
Any lot.
Comes off Old
That's right.
Bowie. It connects to 55 down past.
Oh, I got you. Okay. And
Yeah.
it is running north. So, okay. I was wondering about the right turn lane there. That makes sense. Okay. Right turn lane coming north into the
Yeah.
subdivision.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you'll come in and you'll turn right. And there'll be a left.
In the middle of Venice. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, that
Okay,
makes
fair.
sense from the
Yeah,
time
that makes great
standpoint.
sense. And we've done that before. We've approved that before, I think.
And the
Others-
buffer was already in there with, I think it was the Pope and Pope offices right there.
But they're keeping the buffer.
But there, the buffer's going to stay.
Yeah, that buffer condition did not change.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those seem like reasonable things.
Yeah, seems fair.
If it does get changed to the way you'd like to do it now, at what point in the process of building things and then building things in phase 1 and starting things in phase 2 will a usable access get started being built to 55? Like for the people that start moving into phase 1, will there be people moving into phase 1 by the time or before the access to 55 is built?
I would think so, yes.
Okay.
But those folks would then use Ennis or Old Louis Creek to get to 55.
Gotcha. But the only entrance
Yeah.
in and out will be the one on Ennis.
Correct.
Okay.
Until the 100th
Until the-
lot is sold.
Yeah, until
right?
That's right.
How many lots are going to be in phase 1?
There's 74 lots in phase 1.
So the first 25 homes of phase 2 would have to go out of the original entrance.
Yeah, and
Before.
ideally what we are planning on for construction scheduling purposes is to finish the entrance onto 55 for phase 2 before we want to record our plat. And so those 25 lots would be using the entrance off of 55.
Before you record the plat.
Correct.
Yeah, there's another subdivision over here called Vaughn Farms,
Mm-hmm.
and there's road improvements with that subdivision and this subdivision that we're talking about tonight, and coordination between those two that sort of we need to work out that coordination with DOT, and so, Tristan's right. They hope to get it all in, if they can get it all coordinated with DOT and the other subdivision.
It sounds like you may be trying to maximize efficiency actually and work with the one across the street to make accesses at the same time.
Maybe split that
It's
cost.
the same
but
site contractors doing the development.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's nice.
Well, that would
yeah.
be good.
But if the 25 homes that are there start using 55, is there a potential that they'll start using it before there's turn lanes there? No, so all that would be in before okay, that's what I want to make sure. Great, thanks. Cool.
And so are we readopting this whole conditional rezoning?
Yeah,
as this package
I
here?
would do
Okay.
that. Mhm.
All right. Any other discussion about that? All right, if there's no other discussion, all those in favor, raise your hand of accepting this conditional rezoning proposal. Looks like that is unanimous. All right. And is there any other business? Thank you,
Thank you.
gentlemen.
Thank you,
for coming
guys.
out.
There's no other old business or other business. I'm not sure there will be a December meeting. Nothing's really on the plate right now. So you all may get December off. But I'll let y'all know soon.
Take them on. Well, I do want to, we have one of our
We have
elected
Mayor-elect.
officials here.
Uh-huh.
The mayor-elect is here with
He
us.
got a
Welcome.
title. Yeah, mayor-elect.
Welcome to the planning board. Congratulations to you as well. I've been putting mine off. Well, good to have you here. Congratulations to you as well. So, absolutely, thank you. All right, if no other business, we can conclude the meeting.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you, board.
All right.